Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. When Origin Sky Secret Realm opened, it had strict rules that forbade other creatures from following him in, so he could only enter alone. The Silver Phoenix was sleeping, so Shahao had the Divine Striking Stone take care of it. That stupid bird was frightened off by me. The Divine Striking Stone put on an arrogant look, nonsense. Shahao knew that it was lying through its teeth right off the bat. He hurriedly looked towards the Emperor Butterfly, asking it. It was because the silver-haired girl knew where Supreme Hall had appeared before. As a result, the Emperor Butterfly transmitted a bit of divine senses, telling him that the Silver Phoenix woke up, turned into a beautiful and outstanding silver-haired woman, and then it crazily beat up the Divine Striking Stone, chasing it for several tens of thousands of li and fiercely venting its resentment before leaving in the end. Didn't you say that she was chased off by you? Shahao asked the Divine Stone. Fuck that damn bird. She is the descendant of a phoenix, almost returning to her roots. Once she turned into a silver phoenix, reawakening from serious injuries after bathing in divine flames, it became even stronger. Angering me to death. What you laughing at, brat? You cut off the other party's silver feathers, doing an absolutely terrible job, making her look like a pigeon, but in the end, she vented all of her resentment on me. Those phoenix flames truly are intolerable. I am so fucking unlucky. The Divine Striking Stone was so angry it was hopping in fury, cursing continuously. This time, it was humiliated again, making it feel incomparably downcast. If not for it running fast enough, it would have been caught. Back then, Shahao feared that the Silver Phoenix would be recognized by others, so he directly gave her a complete makeover, cutting her precious feathers that were flickering with silver radiance, all uneven and scraggly. That silver-haired woman was immediately so angry she almost fainted. When she revived, he knew without even thinking about it that she was definitely driven mad. You were in charge of looking after someone else's girl, so if you weren't the one to take anger on, who else would be? Shahao didn't feel the slightest bit of sympathy, laughing in ridicule. Brat. I'm gonna stake it all against you. It was you that tormented that girl, okay? Why are you putting this crime on my head? The Divine Striking Stone roared out angrily, throwing itself over. However, immediately after, its eyes immediately went straight, saliva flowing out. He stared at the strange stone, that dazzling strange stone that surged with immortal multicolored radiance. That thing was too strange, dyed with the bright colors of the heavens. It was incomparably divine and auspicious. This is it immediately began to drool, Heaven's Mandate Stone. Shahao said calmly while weighing it in his hand, Ao Wu, give it to me. It directly threw itself over, opening its mouth to bite down. Shahao shifted outwards, dodging to the side. L big bro, do you see how loyal and devoted I am? I followed you bravely with no thought of personal safety, risking life and limb. You have to give it to me. The Divine Striking Stone was so sickeningly corny that it gave others goosebumps. Who cares about that silver phoenix troubling me? Next time we meet, I'll directly settle things with her in front of her face. No, such a gorgeous silver-haired girl, cool and elegant to the extreme, it's up to you to deal with her. If it's too troublesome, I'll carry her back. You even helped her trim her silver feathers, personally doing the work. This kind of thing I promise I will tell the entire world, let everyone under heaven know, leave her with no choice but to marry you. What mess are you spouting? Absolute nonsense. Can you not bring me more trouble? Shahao glared at it. This fella was clearly trying to curry favor through threats. Shahao divided the Heaven's Mandate Stone in half, giving half to his grandfather. The remaining half was precisely for the Divine Striking Stone. Big bro, you are too awesome. Unfortunately, I am male, or else I would completely devote myself to you. The Divine Striking Stone shamelessly cried out, devouring the Heaven's Mandate Stone in one gulp. In that instant, its entire body shone, turning scarlet red, then purple energy came from the east, then becoming pure white like jade. It continuously changed, appearing incomparably divine. You can merge with it. Shahao was shocked, of course. It's a rock, I'm a rock, we'll merge sooner or later. The so-called selecting masters, that is just for other creatures. The divine striking stone spoke proudly. When Shahao heard this, his heart beated crazily. There was something like this, I am going to rise up soon, undergo a perfect transformation, becoming the number one stone under the heavens. Youngster, hurry up and praise me a bit. In the future, big bro, I'll cover for you. After devouring the heavens mandate stone, it began to act cocky again. You scoundrel, abandoning your benefactor after achieving your goal. Shahao glared. I'll help you take on a disaster. That silver-haired girl chased after me for tens of thousands of li, almost taking me down. So this is only natural. It acted boldly and confidently, as if justice was on its side. Then, it declared loudly, from today forth, I want to change my name to Stone of Fate. However, soon after, his eyes went straight. He stared at Shahao's palm. There was piece of stone, was unadorned and without radiance. However, there was a type of great Tao aura. What is this? The divine striking stone trembled. Origin stone. Shahao said in a carefree manner, Big bro, you are my dear big bro, give it to me, you have to give it to me. The divine striking stone threw itself over, saliva flowing everywhere. It unexpectedly produced a pair of stone arms, grabbing Shahao's legs, not letting go even if it died. Shahao shot it a look of disdain, ignoring it. Big bro, give me the origin stone. Once I successfully merge with it, I will definitely be the number one stone. In the future, you don't even have to take action, just leave it all to me. The divine striking stone wiped away its saliva while promising fanatically. Shahao weighed the stone material in his hand. This was just a small piece. There was still much more in the spatial magical artifact. Dear big bro, as long as you have any orders, I promise I will smoothly take care of it. It rolled about on the ground there while hugging Shahao's leg, not letting go no matter what. Big bro, I will warm the bed. In the end, it seemed like it would stoop to any level, saying something like this, get lost. Shahao flung his leg out, feeling all the fine hairs on his body stand on end. I didn't mean that. What I wanted to say was that I will bring back people who will warm the bed. Isn't that cool? An elegant noble silver-haired girl, insufferably arrogant. Watch me capture her and have her warm big bro's bed. The divine striking stone patted its own chest while saying this. He also boasted that once he merged with the origin stone, it could go capture the holy ladies of any sect. Where is your integrity? Shahao looked at it speechlessly. For the sake of the origin stone, anything is okay. I can do anything. The divine striking stone's skin was exceptionally thick as it cried out, take it, stop shouting already. Shahao truly couldn't handle him, tossing it several pieces, leaving the divine striking stone dumbstruck. Then, it began to cry out unendingly, dear big bro, see how I will serve you in the future. It finally no longer dared to destroy the bridge after crossing the river, because it felt that Shahao definitely had quite a bit more origin stone on him. Shahao didn't pay it any more attention. He turned to the Emperor Butterfly and said, I don't have much gifts for you this time, but we are about to enter the immortal ancient. There are heavenly deity fruits, and all types of precious medicines. You'll definitely be able to eat your fill and quickly evolve. They then left this place, directly heading for Fiend Island. Shahao felt that with the great battle of 3,000 provinces happening soon, the disciples of all sects would definitely have terrifying trump cards. He had to prepare seriously as well. This time, he was more scared than hurt. He walked to the heavenly river path, using up several days, blasting himself within an inch of his life. He collected a large amount of the river water with the pill furnace. He similarly collected quite a bit of immortal tomb earth. Fortunately, he studied the Lightning Emperor's precious technique, and he understood the curse of this place as well. Otherwise, it would be like last time, using up half a month just to get a bit. Let's go. We should set off. The great competition is about to start. Shahao said, where are we going? The divine striking stone asked. Sin Province. Shahao said. It was rumored that this was where the creatures of the lower realm gathered. Fire Province also set their foundation there, so Hulinga might be there as well. Sin Province, this kind of name made Shahao feel extremely angry inside. He also hoped that this province would rise up and create a bright world through slaughter, shine brilliantly through the great world, ascend to the peak, great battle of 3,000 provinces, I'm coming. What present world geniuses, what ancient sealed freaks. They will all be put down. The divine striking stone cried out. Sin province, east to west 230 million li, north to south 80 million li. It wasn't that large, nor could it be considered small. In the higher realms, it was a lower mid-sized province. Shahao used up several days of time, borrowing various large-scale transport formations to return back to this side of the world, traveling several hundred provinces before finally arriving in Sin province's lands. Shahao walked out from an altar together with some travelers. The void gate behind him closed. He sized up the surrounding scenery, wishing to understand a bit about this place. He was already able to obtain some clues from a city. Mulberry City, a place with sparse spiritual essence. The entire city was primarily grayish-brown in color and made of enormous rocks. It looked rather primitive. The ground trembled. Several elephant-headed individuals walked past, their enormous bodies making the streets shake. Their skin was a bluish-green color and full of bloodstains. There were manacles and leg irons on their hands and feet. These were slaves. They had just been bought and were currently being escorted away. While in midair, great winds stirred about. Several dozen demonic bats took to the air like pterosaurs, exuding a type of baleful aura. They were all mounts, currently bringing people into the distance. This was all just what Shahao saw from the altar, a random scene he saw immediately. Mulberry City carried a type of primitive aura. Compared to the large cities of other great provinces, it seemed to be falling behind in development, severely lacking in spiritual essence. This place isn't too suitable for long-term residents. Someone frowned and said. Because it allowed passage over provinces, these great transport formations would already send at least several thousand people with each delivery, or else it wouldn't be worth it. When the large group of people walked out, they felt rather disappointed in this large city. Don't feel so disappointed. This is Sin City after all, a previously cursed ground. What were you hoping for? Some grand place full of spiritual mountains and clear waters. Just be content with how it is. Someone said. When Shahao heard this, he frowned. The living environment of this place wasn't all that great after all. Why did it become a cursed land? Shahao wanted to know how this came to be. It was because this was where the descendants of creatures from the lower realm gathered, a long time ago, a few powerful prisoners, as well as the descendants of great vicious existences from the lower realms were exiled here. They had the blood of sinners flowing through them, causing this province to be cursed. An elder said. Shahao clenched his fists, and then he loosened them. He asked a few more questions, being careful not to raise any doubt. It was because the higher realms was too vast, and aside from the province they resided in themselves, it was normal for them to not know too much about other places. Curse. It is definitely something only exceptional individuals who are powerful to the extreme can display, right? The others were interested. Woo, this question is something we best avoid. Rumor has it that it is a curse from the heavens. The elder said. Quite a few people couldn't help but gasp, feeling great restraining fear. They weren't willing to ask more about his. However, there were a few youngsters that were more curious, asking those beside them why this was the case. At the same time, they didn't seem to really believe these skeptical sayings. What heavens? They were all created by creatures, nothing more than a joke that ended up becoming a bit more scary. Someone muttered, not really believing this legend. Correct. There were a few rumors that it is related to some ancient sects that have disappeared or hid themselves in this world. Back then, a few forbidden existences from these inheritances joined hands to create this curse. This is a rumor. A few people argued and discussed among themselves. I say, everyone, now that we've arrived in this place, it is still better if we stop chatting about these taboo topics. Otherwise, if something bad happens, we might provoke a huge disaster. A rather calm middle-aged man warned. Mulberry City was extremely massive. It was made of rocks, and even the ground surface was made of rock material, giving the city a rather ancient and savage feeling. After walking out from the transport formation and entering the city, most people dispersed, no longer moving together. Shahao already knew that there were quite a few people who wanted to participate in the great battle of 3,000 geniuses in Sin province, wishing to obtain a good ranking in this primitive and lagging place. It was because the number of entrants into the immortal ancient was limited. The cultivators of various sects were all thinking of ways to enter, trying to enter through comparatively weaker provinces to obtain the qualifications. Sin province was the goal of many supreme experts. Large amounts of people gathered here. Mulberry City was an extremely large city. Meanwhile, Shahao discovered that all of the inns were full, with most of them occupied by cultivators from other provinces that wanted to seize one of the entrance spots from this province. Soon after, he revealed an expression of discontent. It was because the supreme experts of other provinces treated those from Sin province with great disrespect. This was a cursed land, so in their eyes, they were all descendants of vicious prisoners. Many of them looked down on these people, treating this province with contempt. Descendants with the blood of sinners were placed here, cursing the entire great province. One can imagine what kind of heaven-overflowing crime these prisoners committed. Back then, they should have directly slaughtered all of these people. What is the point of leaving them alive? These were the opinions of a few extremists. It made Shahao's face fall. Regardless, quite a few of these were descendants of people who came from the lower realm. They were actually being looked upon like this. No wonder this province had the word sin as part of its name, making him feel extremely uncomfortable inwardly. In these past years, there hasn't been many outstanding individuals from this province. The entrance spots will likely all be seized by outsiders. In the lower realm, he had heard the saying descendants of great vicious, and now that he came to the higher realms, there was actually this kind of province treated as a land of exile and cursed. This province had people from the lower realm, as well as the descendants of the higher realm's ancient vicious disciples. He felt extremely uncomfortable. How many generations had passed? Even if their ancestors truly did do something wrong, the sin shouldn't fall on the shoulders of the descendants, right? Shahao felt that he should understand the situation in more detail. Soon after, he learned that Fire Clan was considered a large power in this province, the ancient country of an area. They would not tolerate contempt. In addition, the other news he received left him deeply shaken. There was a stone country, but it was wiped out in the ancient times. Shahao's expression changed. This was absolutely terrible news. If his predictions weren't wrong, it should be the ancient country established by the ancestors of his stone clan. Why did this happen? He asked around. The blood of sinners was too strong, startling all areas. It was cursed by the heavens, causing this ancient country to vanish into thin air. Someone replied, "How is that possible?" Shahao definitely didn't believe this saying. Shush, lower your voice a bit. Stone country flourished in the ancient era, producing a few formidable individuals that were quite stunning. Someone saw a large hand reach down from the heavens, flattening this ancient country and burying that clan. One person said mysteriously. Shahao left for the distance. For him, these news were quite bad, making him almost erupt with anger. After searching around, he successfully arrived at Stone Clan's remains. There wasn't a single blade of grass that grew here, a place completely desolate. There were ruins everywhere with broken walls remains. This was an enormous area of ruins. An enormous country's capital city had previously towered here. Shahao paced about here for 2 days, feeling angry inwardly. This ancient country was unexpectedly wiped out so ruthlessly, being completely destroyed. It was too cruel and merciless. Finally, at the border of these ancient country remains, he found a tattered village. Upon closer inspection, he discovered that these individuals could be considered Stone Country's descendants. Actually declined to this state, he looked at the old and weak, as well as the ordinary youth. They had long become mortals, not understanding cultivation. They could have properly survived before like other clans, but only because Stone Clan's ancestors learned of some truth, they provoked a disaster of destruction. When he found another tattered stone village, Shahao unexpectedly heard this shocking information from the mouth of a muddle-eyed elder. Stone Clan was just one of them, a clan that could not be forgiven. There seemed to be a pair of eyes staring at it. They always say blood of sinners. Could it be that they can tell somehow? Shahao asked. He had heard about this term quite a while ago, and it had always left him feeling a bit uneasy. He voiced his doubt. How was this defined? This small stone village was extremely barren, only having 100 or 200 residents. They wore old and tattered beast skin clothes that were quite primitive, not like the descendants of an ancient country at all. The old man sighed deeply and said, "It truly can be verified through a few sacred objects. When tested, these people's foreheads would display specks of light. The blood of sinners gathers in the foreheads of powerful individuals, sacred light blazing like a torch. Meanwhile, those with the greatest sinners' blood would even display some patterns on their foreheads, their radiance surging into the sky." When Shahao heard this, he was quite shocked. Where can these sacred objects be found? He asked. He wanted to personally experience what it was like. It really isn't some sacred object, something all clans have. After Stone Clan was wiped out, there is an enormous rock within the ancient country capital ruins alone. It is right in front of that capital city, and one can test themselves through it. It shouldn't have been taken away by anyone. The elder said. It was because for most people, it wasn't some secret treasure, not useful in any way. When the old man was talking about these things, his eyes seemed to become absent-minded, lost in sorrow. Shahao stopped in this village for some time, earnestly asking quite a few questions. He left behind a pile of precious items before ultimately leaving, directly heading for those ruins. Is he my Stone Clan's youth? How much I wish for a star to rise again, a powerful expert that illuminates past and present, intimidates all those under the heavens, one who can wash away my clan's humiliation. The old man muttered. His eyes were full of tears, and in the end, he cried with grief as he thought back to the ancient country's past glory. Soon after, Shahao returned to those ruins. Sure enough, there was an enormous rock at the front of the city. It was clearly different, giving off an ancient feeling. There were mottled bloody streaks along its surface. They were not scattered on this rock, but rather a type of innate bloody spots. Shahao was a bit skeptical. He reached his hand over. He did just as the elder said, stirring on his blood energy slightly before calmly waiting. In that instant, the blood within his body surged, rumbling like lightning. It surged like a great river. Then, his forehead bone immediately condensed an ancient and mysterious symbol that shone with incomparable brilliance. Sin Province, the inheritances adjacent to Stone Country's ruins could see it with their own eyes. There was an ancient symbol in the skies that released brilliant radiance. It shone like a sun. Many people were shocked. They began to discuss among themselves, but they didn't dare approach out of fear of bringing a disaster upon themselves. At the ends of the great earth, a pair of grandfather and grandson were passing by. They sensed something, gazing over towards this side. Grandfather, is that the character Sin? It is. There is actually someone like this. Sinner's blood condensing and illuminating the skies, producing this character. In the past, even those great vicious individuals only produced some Tao patterns, but Grandpa, you told me that before, this character wasn't Sin, but instead represented a type of glory. That is true. What a pity, now, it is the character for Sin. Its original meaning already no longer exists. The two left into the distance, disappearing into the limits of the horizon. Shahao's hand was trembling. He touched that enormous rock covered in tears of blood. That sorrowful voice was still sounding by his ears. We are not people with the blood of sinners, our ancestors are still fighting, sealing off heaven and earth, cutting off their own paths of retreat, still fighting a bloody battle, defending desolate borders. These mournful words seemed to be transmitted from a world separated from this one. It was crying out, howling with grief. It possessed a type of glory, but also a type of sadness. For some unknown reason, Shahao discovered that his body was trembling. His mood was resonating in response as well. Unknowingly his face had become covered with tears. Soon after, a figure shot over like lightning, shaking the heavens as it quickly approached. With a rumbling sound, it descended into these ruins. It was unexpectedly a heavenly deity. He was the closest expert to this place, the first one to hurry over. Then, several figures tore through the skies, descending while exerting a great pressure. Soon after, there was even someone that was surrounded by chaotic energy that descended from beyond the heavens. He overlooked this place, not speaking for a long time. Blood of sinners formed, light emerging from the forehead, engraving itself in the heavens. Those that don't know might even think that their ancestors have returned. Only after a long time did an ancient voice sound here. There were no fluctuations in this voice, no emotions to speak of. They left, not staying here. Then, other groups of people came one after another, paying this place a visit. The blood of sinners burned away everything. The light that was released from the forehead bone has ignited all, we cannot sense anything. It was just a sin character that illuminated the heavens, a type of irregular scene, yet it startled all sides. There was no way Shahao could have knowing that his actions, just now would trigger such commotion. An enormous undercurrent was surging. A few people were scouting about, wishing to find him. By now, he had long left that place. He was standing on a short mountain, currently lost in his thoughts. Only after who knew how much time had passed did he snap back to reality. He said to himself, a descendant of sinners' blood, I am not. He could feel that type of emotion even now, resonating with him. His ancestors were not sinners, but instead the founders of glory. Even now, they were fighting at the front lines, hot blood flowing from their bodies. This wave of emotion, this surge of war intent gave Shahao a type of comprehension, a realization of truth. He improved a step further. Am I about to reach the great circle of the supreme expert realm? Shahao's eyes were brilliant. He was already at its doorstep before, reaching it soon. Now, with his emotions fluctuating intensely, he was unexpectedly about to directly break through. He didn't continue with it, because a single mistake, and he would directly enter the divine flame realm. In reality, the appearance of the condensed sin character that illuminated the skies startled many great sects. It wasn't just them. However, only this clan had a feeling that they knew who this person was. Stone Clan ruins, it should be that youngster, right? A heavenly deity said with ice-cold eyes. Recently, they had been tossed and turned about by a small supreme expert, losing all face. Yu was cut down, the Tao protector defeated, treated by great inheritances as a laughingstock. Even under these circumstances, they still didn't leak out Shahao's true identity, because they were still unwilling, wishing to capture him to obtain the Kuan-Peng technique and others for themselves. Let me make a divination to see where he is. The Tao protector appeared. A small part of the broken horns on his head had just regrown, not completely recovered yet. His withered face was even more pale. Great One. There were heavenly deities that cried out, feeling incomparably worried. If this elder did this, then he would likely use up the last of his life. Great One, you must not. Chi Daolin is a lunatic. Even if we can find that youngster, the gains would still not make up for the losses. Heavenly deity Mo Luo advised. Chi Daolin entered the boundless uninhabited region. The things I am going to do will not leave any traces. It is heaven's will to end this youngster's life prematurely. The Tao protector said calmly. Everyone became shocked. They looked at each other in dismay. Prepare a quiet room. I am going to carry out the plan. The Kuan-Peng technique and others will be seized, and the disaster will be sent on his way. The Tao protector's eyes were cold, his broken horns flickering with cold light. Soon after, this place became quiet. All of the heavenly deities retreated, waiting silently. Time passed by. They were extremely nervous inwardly. They wanted to obtain the unmatched techniques and kill that disaster, but they feared that Chi Daolin would learn about it too. Now that the Tao protector is taking action, there is no way he can continue living. Even though he is stunning, he will still wither away prematurely. The Tao protector was laid on the ground, coughing large mouthfuls of blood. His mouth was covered with bloody traces. He didn't bring back that person, but instead fell on the ground himself. What happened? Heavenly deity Mo Luo was greatly alarmed. He quickly rushed over to help treat his injuries. Only, the blood surging from the Tao protector's mouth didn't stop, continuously pouring outwards. The divination will not appear. He had a look of bewilderment on his face, and even more a type of shock as he muttered, when I gazed into the future, there was an expanse of primal chaos. When he turns around, behind him is an expanse of nothingness. Great One, what are you saying? Your esteemed self is talking about that little monster. Yes, him. Blood poured out endlessly from his mouth. He was withering away. With great shock, he said, he doesn't seem to belong in this set of history. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.